Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the RATPAC Holiday Gifts for Amateur Radio Operators, a composition by the RATPAC Group. This presentation is available at tiny.cc/AR-GIFTS24. You can shoot the QR code. I also have that available at the end. That'll get you access to all of the links in the presentation. There's also some additional links here at the beginning on buying amateur radio equipment, a spreadsheet of available equipment, and a station cost estimator that are all available on this sheet. So today's presentation is not just for Christmas, but gifts for the holiday, for any holiday or occasion. Not a buying list, more of an idea guide to get you started. It's not meant as an endorsement of any one particular product, manufacturer, or vendor, and all the opinions are those of the members of the RATPAC committee themselves. Some of the gifts we're going to talk about tonight are radios, antennas, station accessories, tools, personalized items, memberships, subscriptions, test equipment, and miscellaneous. We're going to have a little bit of a night, 'twas the night before Christmas. If you're watching this on the recording, you'll need to go to the end to watch it, and Dan will put that there. But if you're here with us tonight, let's go ahead and listen.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through 2 meters, not a signal was keying up any repeaters. The antennas reached up from the tower quite high to catch the weak signals that bounced from the sky. The children, technicians, took their HTs to bed and dreamed of the day they'd be extras instead. Mom put on her headphones, I plugged in the key, and we tuned 40 meters for that rare ZK3. When the meter was pegged by a signal with power, it smoked a small diode and I swear shook the tower. Mom yanked off her phones and with all she could muster logged a spot of that signal on the DX packet cluster, while I ran to the window and peered up at the sky to see what could generate RF that high. It was way in the distance, but the moon made it gleam. A flying sleigh with an 8-element beam. And a little old driver. It was too far to tell, but he might have been sent by the ARRL. Then I saw it was Santa, the Santa of hams, on a mission this Christmas to clean up the bands. He circled the tower, then stopped in his track, and he slid down the coax right into the shack. While Mom and I hid behind stacks of CQ, this Santa of hamming knew just what to do. He cleared off the shack desk of paper and parts and filled out all my late QSLs for a start. He ran copper braid, took a steel rod, and pounded it into the earth till the station was grounded. He tightened loose fittings, resoldered connections, cranked down modulation, installed lightning protection. He neutralized tubes in my linear amp. Never worked right before, now it works like a champ. A new low-pass filter cleaned up the TV. He corrected the settings in my TNC. He repaired the computer that wouldn't compute, and he backed up the hard drive and got it to boot. Then he reached really deep in the bag that he brought, and he pulled out a big box. A new rig, I thought, a new Kenwood, an ICOM, a Yaesu for me, an Elecraft, Tentec, or Flex, could it be? If he thought I'd been bad, it might be QRP. Yes, the ultimate station. How could I deserve this? Could be all those weekends I worked public service. He hooked it all up, and in record time, quickly worked 100 countries, all down on 160. I should have been happy. It was my call he sent, but the cards and the postage will cost a month's rent. He made final adjustments and left a card by the key to Gary from Santa Claus, 73. Then he grabbed his HT, looked me straight in the eye, punched a code on the pad, and was gone. No goodbye. I ran back to the station, and the pileup was big, but a card from St. Nick would be worth my new rig. Oh, too late, for his final came over the air. It was copied all over. It was heard everywhere. The ham Santa exclaimed what an old ham expects. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, good DX.
So again, here's the link to get to tonight's presentation. One of the things I want to talk about first is politely suggesting the gift you want. Because we're in such a specialized field, the person buying the gift for you might not have an idea of what's involved in an amateur radio gift. So not only do you have to pick a gift, but you have to make sure they know what you want. So let your significant other know that the ham radio surprise gifts can often be wrong items. If they insist on surprises, have your significant others talk to the trusted ham friend. Give them a list of multiple items to pick from with multiple price levels. Drop unmistakable hints. See you later. Shop together. Have them email me, k8zt73@gmail. So you don't want the useless holiday junk. Follow the lead of children around the world. Make a list for Santa. Leave printed ads for items you want around the house, but make sure there is no confusion on the desired item. Circle, highlight, etc. Send text or emails of wanted items and website links. You may need to provide possible vendors. Don't use vague or over-technical jargon, i.e. I want an SDR, an HF rig, slugs for my bird, extended rubber duck, and ICOM IC705, because they might find your IC705 online for only $5.99. Or you might send them to DX Engineering, which is in the same building as Summit Racing, and they can find a KB IC705 for only $631. About $700 more than most of us would expect to spend for the 735 we wanted, the 705 we wanted. So make sure it's clear what you really want so they know what they can get you. It doesn't have to be expensive. It can be stocking stuffers. There's many things we consume all the time, plus little small things. So some good quality electrical tape, some little carabiner clips that I use for antennas, antenna wrapping materials, binding post splitter, soda antenna winders are these things down here. So these kind of things can be very good pocket stocking stuffers. A small digital voice recorder can be invaluable if you're operating satellites, portable, and you have all three hands occupied by tuning the radio, holding the microphone, and pointing the antenna. It's impossible to log, so being able to record it on a small digital recorder can be a great way to go. A GPS watch with a grid locator is great if you're operating POTA or SOTA or other activities in the field and you want to know what grid square you're in. A watch with a built-in compass and altimeter can be very helpful. And I have some list of ham apps for phones here, so you click on the links, it'll take you out to them. And that's, again, why you need to use the link that we talked about to get the whole slideshow. So there's 4 links here with Android, iOS, and other apps out there that are available for ham radio operations. Many of them are free, but some of them are inexpensive. And again, sometimes the links need to be adjusted, so I'll fix that link. If you operate WSJTX for FT8 or FT4 in the field and you don't have a way to keep your time synchronized, a simple less than $15 dongle for your laptop with a GPS receiver in it will allow you to keep your time accurate. Stocking stuffers can include things that you consume, such as Anderson power pole, which are used quite a bit and get used up fast. Or you can go for a little bit fancier thing and get a nice crimper for your power poles. So there's a number of things around that. Crimping kits for different types of connectors can be very useful. Stocking stuffers might include a multi-purpose tool or a Swiss Army knife. If you are getting a Swiss Army knife, and make sure you get the one with the pliers. I find that the one thing that you can't duplicate in the field without a pair of pliers, so it's very helpful. And scissors are also very helpful, and wire strippers are very helpful. You might have to give up the corkscrew, but get the pliers for sure. You can also get it personalized with your name and call sign. Let's talk a little bit about some more expensive things, radios. Really, there's 2 main categories of radios, VHF and UHF radios, and in there's handhelds, which can start as low as $15 and go up, FM mobiles, and multi-mode radios, which are quite a bit more expensive. On HF, the normal 100-watt multi-mode, multi-band radios start at about $600 and go up to pretty much the sky's the limit, but there's a wide variety available under $1,500 that are great performers. If you're interested in QRP, you can even get a cheaper price radio. Maybe you want something portable to go along with the shack radio. A single band radio, a single mode QRP type of radio can be very inexpensive, and a kit can be as little as $55 for a complete HF transceiver. So if you're interested in an HT, let them know what price range and what type of HT you're interested in. A mobile radio. Mobile radios, of course, can be used at home. An HF radio, everything from a 100-watt ICOM 7300 to a QRP Labs $55 single band CW kit up to the Flex radio there. If you're shopping for a new transceiver, there are a number of resources to help you decide on models. Ask trusted friends, especially if you can try their rigs. A grain of salt. Most owners like the rigs they own, so don't be surprised that you get a lot of positive reviews from people that own the radios. But you can also look at EHAM product reviews and ARRL product reviews. There's a number of YouTube videos available comparing different models of radios. And the manufacturer's websites is a great place. And I have a spreadsheet that's available for buying amateur radios, and in there's a list of all the manufacturers. There's a matrix of HF radios, VHF radios, older radio, HF radios, HTs, etc. And here's the list. There's also a guide to buying amateur radio equipment that you might want to take a look at that presentation. And putting together a station, remember, it isn't just the radio. There's plenty of other things that you can ask for gifts, such as coax, antennas, even a power supply. So if you're looking at VHF, UHF, there's a number of things you need to decide between. If you're looking at HF, there's a number of things you want to decide between. So depending on which radio type you're looking at, put together a list and pick out the features that you want on your particular radio. And here's some examples of some of the radios and some of the vendors that are available from. Some are available only from the manufacturers. Others are available from retail amateur radio stores. There's a number of smaller ticket items, including radio kits. I have a list of kit distributors here that you can click on. Everything from radios, antennas, accessories, test equipment, soldering versus modules, HF transceivers, and kit building for the amateur radio, a YouTube on putting together kits. Many recent transceivers have simple keypads that trigger built-in CW or voice memories. These are a very useful feature in the shack, and they're not that expensive. You can buy a keypad from a manufacturer for about $100, but there's a number of third-party clones available under $15 available, or you can build your own. They're typically a simple matrix of push-button switches, and I have a link here to an article that I put together a few years back on creating and building these. So if you're interested in building one yourself, they are pretty simple items to build because they're simply resistors and push-button switches. If you want a new HF transceiver for under $100, QRP Labs has the QMX multiband CW, FT8, and RTTY capability with the promise of future single sideband. It has a built-in sound card, built-in CW decode. It's not a all bands radio. There's a low bands model with 81, 60, 40, 30, and 20, and a high bands version with 20, 17, 15, 12, and 10. They're available as a kit for $95 or pre-built for $145. The case is another $20 extra. There's also an open source HF QRP kit available called the RF Bit Banger. You can click on that for more information. If you're interested in something that's already assembled but open source, the True US SDX HF transceiver is available as a $96 kit, $144 assembled. There's a bunch of clones of this on eBay. I would suggest you stay away from the clones and only get a TRU SDX, the True SDX, actually by the people that created the software and created all the hardware for the open source. You'll get a bunch more features and the price is not that different. So make sure you're looking at one from this link as opposed to just going to eBay and putting in True USDX and looking for the variety there. And here's a little video. I'll let you watch that on your own later. But this is a single sideband NCW transceiver. And you can power it from USB cable at 1 watt of power, or if you use an external power supply, you can get 5 watts of output from this. If you have an HT and you're a little bit far away from the antenna, an extendable or long antenna can be a great way to improve your ability to get into repeaters that are a little bit of a distance. You can get one that folds up, one that extends out, or one that's long and flexible. If you have the spot that put an external VHF, UHF antenna, you'll see tremendous improvement no matter what radio you're using in the shack. And Marty and I cover this in the RATPAC presentation series on Beginner's Guide to VHF and UHF. But these simple antennas are all less than $200, and they're very simple and can get you a great improvement in your signal. If you want to try out satellites, one of the portable antennas from either Arrow or Elk is a great way to get on the satellites with an HT on the low Earth orbit satellites, the FM ones. There's a variety of antenna items that you can put on your wish list. End-fed half-wave antennas are very popular. The ARRL has a kit for one. There's also a number of other manufacturers. I have more information on antennas at tiny.cc/port antenna, or port op and port antenna. So you can go there for more information. This is what Dennis wants for Christmas. We all want things from our childhood, and Dennis wants the Telerex Christmas tree. No longer available, but maybe in someone's garage. You never know. Station accessories could include a new computer. I get a lot of people saying, I'm trying to use this software and it doesn't work on a Macintosh, or I'm trying to do this and it doesn't work well on my computer. Buy a cheap Windows computer for your shack and just dedicate it to using in the shack, and don't worry about using it for anything else. You might want a second monitor to be able to show extra information. I actually have 3 monitors here in the shack, so I can have them all filled up with information when I'm operating. A new backlit keyboard can be great. Check out gaming keyboards. I like the lights because I like to operate in the shack without a lot of light on, and I can just glance down at the keyboard if I need to see it. Also, a Stream Deck or Genovation type of keypad can be set up to do a lot of different functions with radios, and there's more information at these 2 links for creating these programmable keypads. I mentioned earlier the simple keypads that let you access the memories of your radio, and here's an example of an aftermarket and one of the official ones. A remote controlled power strip can be useful for if you operate remote, or you want to be able to turn your radio off or on from a distance. If you're into Morse code, you're probably into keys, bugs, paddles, side swipers, etc., etc. Now these can start off at just a few dollars, about $30 for the one down the bottom right corner here, and go up into the thousands of dollars for the highly engineered and very elegant Bengali type keys. So if you are interested in a key, make sure the person that you're giving the gift list to knows exactly what you're looking for. So if you're looking for a set of paddles and you get a bug, it's not quite the same thing. There's a bunch of information on the Long Island CW Club on keys. CW Ops has a whole thing on CW resources, and the DX Zone has a Morse key manufacturers list. There's a number of keys available, different types of keys. One of the things I strongly suggest is a membership to either in both of the Long Island CW group and the CW Ops. These are very inexpensive, and they can be a great way to learn CW from either of the 2 groups. So if you're new to CW and want to learn about it, have someone buy you a gift membership to Long Island CW Club. You'll never regret it. There's a bunch of stuff there to do. Even if you're a proficient CW operator, you'll find a lot of online sessions throughout the week, over 75 sessions to keep you interested. A keyer, electronic keyer, might be nice to have. I like this little Funtronics. It's a $75 keyer that has 4 memories. You can plug in a straight key, a paddle, excuse me, paddles, or you can even plug in a USB keyboard and simply type on the keyboard and have your CW go out that way. It also has a built-in decoder, but as with most CW decoders, it's not going to be 100% 100% effective. The Morosino is currently just being discontinued, but there's still some out there. If you're interested in learning, this is a tool to learn Morse code and to learn how to send and receive. You can also use two of them together and transmit with them. You can also use them to connect via the internet to other people using Morosinos and connect. A clock is always great to have in the shack. You want to make sure that it has 24-hour capability. A lot of clocks at your local big box store or hardware store or department store may not have 24-hour capability, and some of the ones that do even have 24-hour capability may not be able to be changed to GMT or UTC time. So make sure if you're looking at one of these that you make sure it has that capability. If you really want to get fancy with your clock, a Geocon, which is used to be just a mechanical version, is now available as a plug-in module that will work with a 4K TV, and you can use it as a display. You can also buy additional subscriptions that have overlays with a variety of things on it. So take a look at the Geocron if you'd like to really have a fancy display in your room. I have a bunch of information on portable operating tools, batteries, etc. at my presentation at tiny.cc port op. One of the things I talk about there are these so-called solar generators. They don't have solar panels on them. They don't actually generate the stuff from the sun. They are a way to store the generated energy, but they can also be charged with a conventional wall charger. There's a number of them available. Take a look. The one thing I would suggest you look for one that has a lithium ferric phosphate battery in it. If it doesn't say lithium ferric phosphate, it is not probably lithium ferric phosphate. The advantage of this is they have a lot more recharge lives to them, and they have a better energy curve to them. So if you are thinking about one of these, take a look at them. They include everything from sine wave generators to run AC devices with them to USB outputs, etc., etc. One of the types of devices is such as those power banks, but even smaller ones have what's called power delivery, or PD. It's a USB-C connector that adjusts the voltage going out based on the device, but you can also get adapters. So this particular device lets you plug into one of those and gives you 12 volts, and this is the perfect connector for the Elecraft KX2, KX3, KH1. So if you're interested in using any of those with these power devices, it works great. You can still go to the local stationery store and get things that are very good for the shack. You might want some Sharpies. Now these are special Sharpies. These are the Sharpies that I like around the shack because they are gold, bronze, and silver. What does that get you? That gets you the ability to write on black objects. So that all those little all those little power supplies you have for your laptop and other devices that are black, you can write what the device is on them with these type of markers. You can also write on a variety of black things. The other thing you can do is you can get a label maker such as a P-Touch, or you can get little clip-on type of things like this that you can hang on different cables and write on them. A software-defined radio, you're able to listen to stations. They're very inexpensive. There's a wide variety out there. They range in price from under $10 to under $200, but features match the price ranges. I have a whole presentation on online software-defined radios that you can go to. Now, station accessories. Probably one of the most important station accessories if you contest especially is a chair, because the way you increase your contest scores is by BIC, butt in the chair. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we all had a super contest station like K3LR located in western Pennsylvania? Well, it's way beyond my budget, but you can have the same chairs that are in their shack for less than $100. It's the Bayside by Wayland, available at a number of big box stores. Or you can visit your local furniture office or supply, find one that fits you best and is comfortable. I'm sitting in one of these right now, and I really like it. Tools are always a great thing to have around. I like some specialty tools. The mini screwdriver sets with flat blades, Phillips, and Torex are very useful. These go down in very small sizes that are great for the miniaturized equipment we have today. But having a set of every possible bit, these are referred to sometimes as the Restroom partition dismantle kit, because it has everything including left-handed bits and strange bits, security bits that you might find. So it opens up almost anything. But even having a nice set of nut drivers right by the shack is a great way to just reach over and pick it up and open something up. Gripping tools, the Nipex plier wrench, the Jaws Stay Parallel. There's 5 different sizes. And then there's the Cobra pliers. This was recommended by one of our committee members. Wire strippers. For years, many of us have struggled with old, crappy wire strippers. And if you buy something like one of these automatic wire strippers, the difference is unbelievable. Or you can buy something inexpensive. My kids always called these the T-Rex strippers because they thought they resembled dinosaurs. Buy a new set of side cutters. A new sharp set is unbelievable how much better they work than that old beat-up set. I saw this tool on the internet. It seems very intriguing. It has multiple capabilities, and you can even buy it with a built-in electronic testing system to it. So take a look if that's something you're interested in. Toolkits for coax, strippers, crimpers, etc. Soldering station. A temperature-controlled soldering station is not as expensive as you expect. You can find a lot of very good stations out there in a variety of price ranges. If you're getting into surface mount, you might want to think about a hot air rework station with not only a soldering iron, but a soldering nozzle to blow hot air. Magnifying lights are very helpful. There's ones that clip on over your head like glasses, ones that are on stands. They all can be very helpful to see things as you're soldering. You can also buy cameras that have a display on them, or ones that plug into a laptop or other display or a monitor and have them be there and be able to view things much easier. Test equipment. Every shack should have a digital multimeter. For years, you could always get the free one at Harbor Freight. They're no longer free, but they have them still very inexpensively. You can buy them, or you can go out and buy something a little higher end. So I have a whole thing here on a multimeter buying guide for beginners that you might want to take a look at. One of the features I strongly suggest is continuity tester with an audio tone, so you can simply see whether you have connection or not connection without looking at the meter, but simply hearing the beep or audio tone. Unless you spend a lot of money, the power watt meter function is approximate at best, about 10 to 15%, but that's plenty good for using in the shack. You can do A/B comparisons, you can see SWR, so having a power SWR meter in the shack can be a great piece of test equipment. A fairly new type of thing out there is the Nano VNA. You can find these from $50 to $200. You can do all sorts of antenna analyzing, but you can also use it to check filters, antennas, other RF circuits. So they're a great tool. They're a little bit of a learner curve, but you can find plenty of videos on the web. I've always liked these. I have one in my workbench. It's a ESR LCR tester. It's a transistor tester, but it also does inductance, capacitance, and resistance and reactance. It can characterize and let you know what type of transistor you have. It'll tell you which is the anode and which is the cathode on your diodes. And I have a link here for reviews and tests of a number of these. If you do any tower climbing, you need to have an OSHA full body harness and dual fall arrest lanyards. These are not inexpensive, but they could save your life. So if you are working on a tower, make sure you have quality and new tower climbing harness material. A canvas tool bag for tower and antenna work can be very useful. RF chokes. The Type 31 FT243 can be great for whenever you get a problem with interference and you need to choke something. So having them around the house can be great. Headset. My wife loves the fact that I use headsets almost exclusively when I'm operating. Even though on phone she still hears me yell, but on CW she hears nothing at all. And one of the things I've found is a lot of people don't realize if you're going to operate POTA or SOTA out in the open, it's even more important to have headsets because of the ambient noise that you might often have from nearby traffic. Personalized QSL cards. I have a list of QSL printers and vendors here. You might also want to consider getting call sign business cards for eyeball contacts. I picked this up from one of the printers of different types of things. Not a QSL printer, but just simply a print shop, and got a little one that I can carry around in my pocket with me. You might want personalized call sign apparel, a name badge, a hat, license plates, etc., shirts, hats, etc. You might want something to put in your shack. I have one of these on the wall in my shack with my call sign on it. I love it. It lights up this nice blue color, but you can get a wide variety, and some of them even let you change the colors. You can have them wood plaques, you can have microphone overlays, etc. Now, memberships and subscriptions. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to subscribe to CQ magazine, but you can still get an ARRL membership, an RAC membership. You can join a wide variety of specialty amateur radio clubs. A great way to spend the money and to support a really good group such as QRPA RCI, AMSAT, Long Island CW Group, CW Ops, etc. You might also want to consider a subscription to a service such as QRZ.com, EQSL, EHAM, or Clublog. Clublog doesn't have a cost to join it, but they do take donations. So think about that as one of the things you might want to think about. If you operate with a headset operating phone, I suggest a microphone headset with a foot switch. There's a wide variety of them out there. One of the things I would make sure is whatever you're looking at, make sure it does not require a lot of effort to use. I found that some of the ones designed for amateur radio actually require so much pressure that my foot gets tired. So I found very inexpensive ones. These are designed as switches for tattoo machines, and they're simply two little strips of metal, and you just simply, a very light touch will set that off. You can also, if you want, get dual ones so you can operate more than one device with your foot switch. And you can also find and reuse ones that are available for sewing machines. Rig interfacing software. Many of us have used multiple programs. I use a comprehensive logbook software. I use N1MM for contesting. I use WSJTX, and I use FLDigi. Now, if I want to use this all at the same time, my radio only has one COM port on it. With this software, WinLink for K3 or WinLink for Yaesu or WinLink for ICOM lets you run all these software at the same time using the one port from your radio. So take a look at these software suites if you want to run multiple software programs at the same time with one COM port. The Pine Seal is a smart mini portable soldering iron that charges with a USB cable. If you have an older radio that doesn't have digital sound card in it, you might want a sound card interface. I found these DigiRig mobiles to be really nice. They're just a couple inches long. They're very small. They have a new one out that fits the FT891, which is a very popular radio for POTA. And the nice thing about it is it allows you to hook up both the USB and the interface, and only need one USB cable to run to your computer. There's also a nice set available from HFDigi. These are much less expensive than the most popular one you'll see advertised that people talk about, and these all just work as well, if not better than that particular model. Here's a very specialized one. This one is designed to plug into that true SDX digital, and it plugs right into the side, and you can hook up your USB to your computer, and it's not very expensive. There's a new book out this year because Gene Shepard's has now been away from us for over 25 years as a silent key. So this gentleman came out with a book, and he also has a variety of YouTube channel videos. So you can watch the videos for free. You might want to consider getting the book. If you've never seen or heard of The Christmas Story by Gene Shepard, who was a ham, you might want to take a look at this. Very interesting. And you can watch the videos, as I said, for free. Here's the link to go out to the book and the links to the videos. There's a wide variety of books available from a number of sources, many from the ARRL, but also from other amateur radio groups such as RSGB. But there's also privately put together books. One of the ones that you might think would be not that great is A Ham Radio for Dummies, but it's actually written by Ward Silver, who presented it here at RATPAC a couple weeks ago. He's a great technical person, and this is a really good book, even though it's called Ham Radio for Dummies. There's also a companion website that goes along with it. The Complete DXer, I think, is out of print now, but it's a great book. If you've never read it, find a used copy somewhere. There's a wide variety of Arduino projects available, and there's a good book out there from Jack Purdom and Dennis Kidder on Arduino projects for amateur radio. And Jack also put together a T41 radio. It's a big project with using microprocessors. You might want to look at more information on that. I love maps. I have maps all over my walls, but I have a link here to a presentation I did. It has a bunch of electronic maps, and also it has paper maps resources. So take a look at Maps and Charts for Amateur Radio. That's been presented at RATPAC in the previously. Some miscellaneous QSL aids. A small scanner is a great way to scan your QSL cards and be able to display them on a simple electronic picture frame or on a monitor. It's a great way to do that, and that can be a great thing. QSL display sleeves, QSL collection books are all good things to have. I found this a few years back. I've never found it again. I'm showing it here. Hopefully someone knows where to get one of these. But it's a QSL display that holds 400 QSLs. The metal rods go into this top piece here and they swing out. So there's actually 10 holders that swing and you can view any of them. I've never seen one again. I picked this up at a ham fest in Butler, Pennsylvania about probably 10 years ago. Another thing you might want to do is not buy something and clutter up the house. You might want to think, I just got a chuckle from the other side of the room for that. You might want to think about spending some of your money on a ham travel trip. The Dayton Hamvention in May, the Orlando Hamcation in February, the Huntsville Ham Fest in August, Pacificon in October, or your local regional convention or ham fest. If you are going to the Hamvention, think about adding one extra day on Thursday, either Contest University or 4 days in May. These would be great presents. They're not that expensive to get the tickets. The travel might be a little bit of money, but you can make a vacation out of it. So think about ham travel. You can also think about ham travel as a DX expedition. You can do a DX vacation type of expedition to a wide variety of places. Caribbean island. Don't forget about the U.S. islands, Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. You might want to do an Islands on the Air expedition. You might want to spend your money instead going as a rover to different state QSO parties. You know, spend a little bit of hotel money and a little bit of gas money and go out and operate as a mobile in a state QSO party other than your own state. Or you might want to staycation, rent. A staycation where you stay home, but you rent time on a remote station, such as one in Maine, to work into the Europe very easily. You might want to stop by Newington, tour the AOO headquarters, and operate W1AW. My wife Linda, K8ODP, and I combine field day with a short vacation each year, and we travel to a quote-unquote rare section, such as Montana, Delaware, Maine, West Virginia, etc. I have a whole presentation on it, and Wynn and I have this presentation. You can watch the video of it. Mixing amateur radio. We always mix in trains with our travel too. Now, the next section is going to be for budding potential hams. These are gifts that you might give to someone who's not a ham yet, but might be in the future. And crystal radio kits. There's also the ones you can put together yourself, or there's also the Midnight Science Books series. The clothespin Morse code key cost about $2 for the components. The Long Island CW Kids Morse code classes are free. So if that's something you want to sign a youngster up for, it's a great thing to do. An Arduino or microprocessor kit, books, etc. are great for getting kids interested in electronics, but they're also good for seasoned hams also. These are very inexpensive. You can shop for these on eBay and other sites. Books for youngsters, The Ada Lace, Take Me to Your Leader series by Emily Caladarelli is a great series. Radio Rescue, Electronics for Kids. There's two different books out there. available, so think about some of these. I have a whole sheet of gift ideas for youth, ideas and gifts for involving youngsters in radio. You can go through this whole multi-page document for a wide variety of things that might be good ideas. The number one gift, though, for youngsters interested in amateur radio is spend quality time with them. This is something that you can do. Teach them to solder using simple kits, do electronics, electricity, magnetic, robotics, microprocessor, etc. experiments with them. Teach them how to tune in a radio station. You'll be surprised. Kids are not used to tuning a radio. It's not something they're used to doing. So let them do that, and it can be great. Now, if they don't have a radio or you don't easily have access to one, I have a whole document here on using online software-defined radios at tiny.cc/freerx, and that'll get you all the information you need. And I will fix that link for you on how to use these online software-defined radios. It's like giving a kid a single sideband capable high-performance receiver and an antenna, but they can pick where in the world they want to listen that night by choosing a different one around the world. If you don't live near to the youth, think about using Zoom, Google Meet, etc. to do these things remotely. I'm lucky enough to have my grandchildren just a few miles away, but I know some of you aren't that lucky. Giving back to the community as a gift to the ham radio community, consider donating unused equipment to your local club, school, club, etc. to be used by new hams or resold to fund club projects. Sponsor a young hams visit to Contest University, a DX convention, or DXpedition. Support online ham services like Club Log through your donations. Serve your local club as an officer. Do presentations for local clubs or utilize online means to reach clubs worldwide. Write a newsletter article for your local ham radio club. Your editor will be thrilled. So what's on your list that I missed? Feel free to share your items in the chat, and we'll also do that during the Q&A section. Again, the link to this presentation is at tiny.cc/ARGIFS24. You can shoot the QR code. I'll keep that up on the screen for a little while. We'll take questions in a minute. I'm going to give another little quick presentation here on slightly amateur related, but holiday related little story that I have. So it's called Farm Christmas and the Mystery of the Toy Train. And I'm going to go ahead and go through the slideshow and present it. When our kids were growing up, we had something called Farm Christmas. Now, it might sound like a holiday TV special, a Hallmark Channel movie, a holiday rom-com, or maybe it's that album you got at the local tire dealer. Something like Gun Campbell or Loretta Ling singing Christmas favorites. But it's none of these. This Farm Christmas started with my wife's family. My wife's mother grew up on a farm. It was a small farm in western Pennsylvania. It wasn't that far from everything else, but it wasn't close either, and the roads leading to it were rather primitive. After we were married and I asked my wife for the road's name, she said, "There's no name for the roads, so just turn right at the Grange Hall, then turn again at the cemetery. The next turn is at so-and-so's house." So because of this, from the early days of my wife's family, when the kids were little, my future father-in-law and mother-in-law would arrange for Christmas to be on a good weather weekend before Christmas so that it was easy to travel to the farm. They called this Farm Christmas. Of course, Farm Christmas is exciting because that means Christmas will come before December 25th. And when you're a kid, Christmas is great, but an extra early Christmas is even better. Skip ahead 20 years, and my wife and I were now celebrating Farm Christmas with our young children. You might ask why we had Farm Christmas. We lived on a suburban lot on a cul-de-sac, and the street even had a name. The reason for our Farm Christmas was somewhat different. I worked at a hospital in the laboratory, and those who know healthcare realize that we don't close down for weekends or holidays. So to have our family Christmas with Santa's gifts, we decided to continue the tradition of Farm Christmas with our own children. Santa is, of course, full of magic to make Christmas happen for children worldwide. And of course, you know Santa's awful busy on December 24th, so he doesn't mind spreading out his deliveries on some other days of the year. So by 1991, our family had continued Farm Christmas for over 7 years. By now, our 8-year-old son had severe doubts about Santa. We were sure he would certainly tell his 5-year-old sister the story that there was no Santa Claus. It now seemed like it was the perfect time for a little bit of magic on the part of the parents. My wife and I had made plans before I left for work on that Saturday morning, about a week before Christmas, that maybe this evening would be an excellent time to have Farm Christmas, after I returned from work. Our plan for the evening included a little parental deception. Linda would take the kids out on a few errands. This was before cell phones and texting, so we were monitoring our local 2-meter ham radios for communication. And I would arrive home from work a few minutes early. I would then prepare the house for our Farm Christmas. I purposely left the garage door open, started a fire in the fireplace, and laid out the gifts from Santa. I then got back in my car and drove to the end of the cul-de-sac, where I could watch for their return without the kids seeing my vehicle and listen on 2 meters for Linda's cue. This is Kilo Alpha 8, Oscar Delta Papa listening. After they pulled into the drive, I arrived a few seconds later, pulling in immediately behind them. I immediately exclaimed to my wife, within earshot of the kids, "Why did you leave the garage door open?" She claimed, "I didn't leave it open." As we entered the house, the fireplace was just inside the door. I again asked my wife, maybe even with a little bit of fake scolding in my voice, "Why would you leave the fireplace burning when you were away from the house?" During these questions, the kids were visibly confused. When they left, they knew there was no fire in the fireplace, and they remembered their mom closing the garage door. Their confusion was compounded when they saw the lights lit on the tree and the presents on the floor. My son's first words were, "Who left the train under the tree running?" It was evident by the confused and joyful look in his eyes that our simple parent trick seemed to have worked. Santa's magic would continue in the Luscre household for at least one more year. Later that evening, after the exhausted kids went to sleep, after another Farm Christmas, my wife and I marveled that our tricks had actually worked. As we went through the happenings, I asked Linda, "Why did you leave the train running under the Christmas tree when you left?" She responded, "I assumed that you had turned it on." I said it wasn't me. "Who was it then?" she replied as we stared at each other. The question remained a mystery. Obviously, we were not responsible for all of the magic of Farm Christmas that year. Have a wonderful holiday, everyone. RATPAC has a few more sessions before Christmas, so join us, but then we will be taking the weeks of Christmas and New Year's off. So I would be happy to go back to the slide and we'll take questions on the gifts for tonight.
There's one from Jed. He suggests a Worcester brand painter's pole, 8 foot to 16 feet for mobile deployment.
That is a great idea, and I have one of those also, and it makes a tremendous difference not only on HF, but it's great just on VHF to put your J pole up there, or to put even put a small extended whip up there. Other questions? Other gifts that you want that we didn't mention tonight?
Actually, a membership in one of those remote antenna places is an excellent gift. I know you mentioned taking a trip there, but you can actually buy a membership to use their antennas remotely, and that's a great gift.
Yes, and that also gets you the radios too, so yes, that's a great idea.
We also considered QST ARL membership.
Yes.
Someone says the Atlas 2 Geochron is normally $499 now, but it's on sale for $425 through December 7th with a free 1-year premium subscription. And I guess that's a good set of headphones for large ears.
Yes, and I understand the large ears aspect of it too. It's actually a large head is the problem. But I've broken some small, cheap headphones that have been too tight on my head, trying to stretch them out. Anyone else? Questions, comments, complaints?
I can recommend a good foot switch. When I had an HF radio, I used a foot switch, and it freed both of my hands to be able to use on my desk and on my computer. And all I had to do was use my feet to transmit. It was a great thing that I had.
I agree, and I have one, and my wife always laughs because when I'm using the foot switch for a contest, I'll have a slipper on one foot and I'll have just a sock on the other foot so I can reach and find the foot switch if I move my foot away from it. So she knows I'm contesting when I'm wearing a slipper on my right foot and have just a sock on my left foot.
So what's just the QMX
Yes.
Plus from QRP Labs, easier to build for beginners and covers all bands.
Yes, the QMX Plus is a bigger size, so that's one of the big advantages of it. This is what the QMX Plus looks like, and it covers 160 to 10, as opposed to the QMX Mini. It's a much, much larger. With a lot of space in the box for future editions. Some people are actually building homebrew antenna tuners and battery modules for inside this box. There's plenty of room to do that. And I would not be surprised to see something like that come out in the future, but you can see that it's much more spacious and easier to build. My QMX Mini was put together by the manufacturer. I did not build it myself because it is, I think, a little tight to build. But this, the QMX Plus, has a lot more room in it.
Did you
Anything
mention
else?
Raspberry Pis? Raspberry Pis are very flexible and if you're into geeky technology, Raspberry Pis are amazing.
Mm-hmm. No other questions? Comments? I'll turn it back to you, Dan.
Okay. Well, that was great. Are you going to, okay, you're going to or you're going to just leave your desktop up? It's up to
Yeah,
you.
there you go. I was trying to find the button.
Oh,
I turned the light off so you can see my tie a little bit better.
Oh, that tie looks pretty great. I was watching that. Remember, it kind of gets you going there. Well, that was great. A lot of work went into that, Anthony. I really appreciate it. The few ideas that went across there that I was writing notes on. Okay, this again, is anybody got any questions, suggestions, ideas? Speak up, please.
Just Merry Christmas to all and to all a good night.
Well, good night to you. We're still going.
Well, I just wanted to mention to everyone that we're going to be starting up on Thursdays again in January. So take a look at the RATPAC site. If you haven't been to the site lately, go there and take a look at it, and you'll see that we have some sessions scheduled all the way out to April 24th already. So there's a big series of sessions coming up. We do have 2 more sessions that should be great sessions still this year with the CW Ops CW Academy, the DX Marathon update. That starts January 1st, so you want to get that update in. And then we come back with Winter Field Day and DLRAC Ham Radio Archive Library on Thursday. So that'll be our first Thursday program for a while.
Okay. Yes, we've had many people applying to be on RATPAC. Great presenters. Some have done it in the past with updated programs to give us. Some are brand new. It is a full house and we're still filling the slots. And if you want to give a presentation, let us know. All right. How's chat doing there, Barry?
We're up to date in chat.
Okay, well, with that, we probably should say 73s and wish everybody the best for the rest of the week. It's been a great presentation there, Anthony. As always, he's the best of the best. So with that, I will say 73.
And I
Anybody
will
else?
say, all aboard!
Stay safe, everybody. If you're going to be getting snow, be weather-wise.
Ho, ho, ho!
Bye.